24 hours ago, Alex Eala produced the kind of victory that changes how the entire tennis world looks at a player. Not in an exhibition. Not in a meaningless early season event. Not in a practice session hidden away from cameras. She did it on one of the sport's biggest grass court stages. At the Vanda Pharmaceuticals Berlin Tennis Open, a WTA 500 packed with elite names, the 21-year-old wildcard from the Philippines walked onto the court against world number 2 Elina Svitolina and defeated her in straight sets.
Cleanly, calmly, completely.
And now, only one day later, Alex Eala faces a question far more difficult than anything waiting across the net. Was that victory the beginning of something extraordinary, or the highest point she will reach this season? Because standing between Eala and the Berlin semifinals is one of the most relentless competitors women's tennis has seen in the modern era. A player who does not panic. A player who does not donate mistakes. A player who turns tennis matches into mental endurance tests. Elina Svitolina. But before we get there, we need to slow down for a moment. Because the most important detail from this entire week did not happen during a rally. It did not happen on match point. It happened afterward. After the handshake. After the applause. After the upset had already become reality. Alex Eala admitted her hands were still shaking. Not before the match. After it. And that detail matters more than the scoreline itself. Because it tells you something statistics never can. It tells you she understood exactly what she had just done. Stay with this story until the end, because Berlin has become more than a tournament now. It has become the moment the tennis world started seeing Alex Eala differently. And by the time this week is over, people may no longer talk about her as a rising player. They may start talking about her as a genuine threat. But to understand how quickly everything changed, you have to go back to the beginning of the week. And the beginning is deceptive. Because when Alex Eala entered Berlin, she arrived as a wild card. That phrase sounds harmless until you understand what it usually means in professional tennis. Wild cards are often invitations handed to promising players, local talents, or marketable young stars. Sometimes they create a little excitement. Most of the time they disappear quietly within a round or two. Nobody expected Eala to become the story of the tournament. In fact, the draw almost looked cruel. She landed in one of the heaviest sections imaginable. A brutal stretch of the bracket loaded with proven grass court players and top-tier experience. The kind of draw analysts glance at and immediately label a dead end for outsiders. At world number 35, Alex wasn't expected to survive long enough to matter. She was supposed to be a footnote, a respectable early round appearance. A nice story before the real contenders took over the headlines. That was the expectation. Then Donna Vekic happened. Now, if you only casually follow tennis, understand this clearly. Donna Vekic was not some vulnerable early round opponent. She entered Berlin carrying serious momentum. Just days earlier, she had captured the Queen's Club title and looked completely comfortable on grass. Her serve was clicking. Her confidence was soaring. Her timing looked perfect. Everything about the matchup suggested danger for Eala. The pre-match discussion wasn't whether Vekic could win. It was how dominant the victory would look. Then the match started. And something immediately felt off. Not because Vekic looked bad. Because Alex looked completely unafraid. There was no visible intimidation. No frantic shot selection. No emotional overreaction after losing points. She moved with the calmness of someone who believed she belonged there. That composure changed the atmosphere almost instantly. Every aggressive return. Every early backhand taken on the rise. Every fearless step inside the baseline. It all started building pressure on Vekic instead of the other way around. And when the match ended, it was Alex Eala standing victorious in straight sets. Not because Vekic collapsed. Not because of luck. Not because of nerves. Because Eala simply played better tennis. The win caught attention, but most people still treated it like a temporary spark. A good performance from a dangerous young player enjoying a hot day on grass. That assumption survived exactly one round. Because next came Elina Svitolina. And suddenly this stopped feeling like a fun underdog story. Svitolina is the type of player capable of making elite opponents look helpless. a former Wimbledon champion with one of the cleanest and most devastating serves in women's tennis. On grass, her game becomes even more dangerous. The surface rewards her flat hitting, her first strike aggression, and the effortless pace she generates off both wings. On paper, this was where Alex Eala's tournament should have ended. Instead, it became the night everything changed. Eala walked onto the court and immediately started taking time away from Rybakina. That's the key detail. She didn't simply defend. She attacked the rhythm of the match itself. She stepped inside the baseline,
Took the ball early.
redirected pace fearlessly, punished hesitation instantly. For stretches of the match, the world number 2 looked rushed, uncomfortable, forced into errors she normally never gives away. And the longer the match continued, the more unbelievable it became. Because Alex Eala wasn't surviving anymore. She was controlling the match. When the final point landed and the scoreboard locked in the straight-set victory, Berlin had its defining headline. A 21-year-old wildcard from the Philippines had just defeated the world number 2 on grass. But strangely, the most revealing part came afterward. Because once the emotion settled enough for interviews to begin, Eala admitted her hands were still shaking. That detail changes everything. People misunderstand pressure at the elite level of sports. They imagine greatness means becoming fearless. Like champions somehow stop feeling anxiety once they reach a certain level. That is not how it works. The greatest athletes in the world still feel pressure. Their hearts still race. Their hands still shake. Their minds still scream at them under the lights. The difference is they perform anyway. That is what separates elite competitors from everyone else. Not the absence of fear. The ability to execute brilliantly while feeling all of it. Alex Eala felt the moment completely, and still produced the biggest victory of her career. That is why this stopped feeling like a temporary Cinderella run, and started feeling like the beginning of something far more serious. Because now the pressure changes. Winning one upset is exciting. Winning multiple upsets changes expectations entirely. And now comes the hardest part. Elina Svitolina. If Rybakina represented explosive power, Svitolina represents something almost more dangerous in tournament tennis. Control. Complete control. She doesn't overwhelm opponents with chaos. She suffocates them with consistency. Rallies become longer. Points become heavier mentally. Mistakes become expensive. Svitolina's entire career has been built on making opponents uncomfortable enough to self-destruct. She absorbs pace brilliantly, moves exceptionally well, redirects shots with precision, and perhaps most importantly, she rarely beats herself. That's what makes this matchup fascinating. Against Rybakina, Eala could capitalize on rushed aggression and forced errors. Against Svitolina, those opportunities may barely exist at all. This becomes a completely different challenge. Not just power against power, but patience against impatience, structure against instinct,
Discipline against adrenaline.
and historically, this is where most underdog stories end. Because sports is full of magical runs that collapse the moment they meet a player who refuses to get emotionally rattled. Svitolina has spent years becoming exactly that type of opponent. The dream stopper, the reality check, which is why this quarterfinal suddenly feels enormous. Because the question is no longer whether Alex Eala can pull off a shocking win. She already did that. The question now is whether this version of Alex Eala is actually real. And here's why the answer might genuinely be yes. Her game is not built on unsustainable luck. It's built on timing. Timing is one of the rarest weapons in tennis because it cannot simply be taught overnight. Plenty of players hit hard. Power alone means nothing anymore at the elite level. What matters is taking time away from opponents before they can organize themselves mentally and physically. Alex does that naturally. She steps forward,
Takes the ball early.
redirects pace quickly, rushes decision-making. On grass, that style becomes especially dangerous because the surface punishes hesitation brutally. Every low bounce matters. Every short ball becomes attackable. Every delayed reaction becomes fatal. And Eala has embraced that environment completely this week. Against Vekic, she looked composed. Against Rybakina, she looked fearless. Now comes the deeper test. Can she adapt emotionally and tactically against someone like Svitolina without losing the aggression that made her dangerous in the first place? Because this is no longer just about shot making. This is about identity. For years, the tennis world believed Alex Eala had talent. That was never the issue. Scouts already knew about the clean ball striking, the movement, the left-handed angles, and the tactical instincts. What remained uncertain was belief. Real belief. Not interview confidence. Not motivational quotes. Not social media positivity. The kind of belief revealed only in the biggest moments. The decision to attack instead of retreat. The courage to go for a winner instead of playing safe. The willingness to trust yourself while standing across from players the world expects you to fear. And this week, for the first time, Alex Eala looks like someone who fully believes she belongs here. Watch her between points. Even after mistakes, she stays composed. Even after pressure moments, she resets quickly. Even after losing games, she doesn't spiral emotionally. That transformation might matter more than any forehand she's hit all week. Because confidence in tennis becomes a feedback loop. Winning creates freedom. Freedom creates aggression. Aggression creates opportunities. And opportunities create more wins. Momentum in this sport is almost impossible to explain statistically, but every player who has experienced it knows how real it feels. And right now, Alex Eala is surfing the strongest wave of confidence of her professional career. Every match adds another layer of proof. Every pressure point survived reinforces the next one. And slowly, the whispers begin changing. Maybe these aren't upsets anymore. Maybe the rankings simply haven't caught up yet. That possibility is what makes Berlin feel bigger than a single tournament run. Because Alex Eala is only 21 years old, still developing, still improving physically, still learning how to manage elite matches emotionally. Which means this version of her might not even be close to the finished product yet. And now the entire atmosphere around her has shifted. At the beginning of the week, she played with freedom because nobody expected anything. Now every match comes with heavier attention. More cameras, more analysis, more pressure. Opponents are no longer dismissing her as a promising young player. They are studying her patterns, respecting her game, preparing seriously for her. That transition from invisible outsider to genuine threat is one of the hardest changes in professional sports. Many talented players struggle the moment expectations arrive, because pressure changes everything. And now Alex Eala must prove she can carry that new weight without losing the freedom that created this breakthrough in the first place. If she defeats Svitolina, the conversation changes permanently. She stops being the story of the week. She becomes a legitimate Wimbledon threat. A player nobody wants to draw. A player capable of beating elite opponents on grass. A player whose rise is no longer theoretical. And suddenly Berlin won't be remembered as a lucky tournament run. It will be remembered as the week a future star announced herself to the sport. Maybe she wins tonight. Maybe she doesn't. But honestly, that may no longer be the most important question. Because something bigger has already happened. The tennis world has started paying attention. 1 week ago, Alex Eala was a dangerous wild card with potential. Today, she walks onto the court as the central story of the tournament itself. And somewhere under those Berlin lights, with the pressure rising higher than ever before, her hands will probably shake again. The only question left now is what they'll be shaking for.